Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species, Season 2, Episode 3. That's going to get hard for me to remember.
You should, with each script, put it at the top, and
That's
then
a good idea.
and then it would be easy.
That would be much easier
than trying to remember. I love how we have seasons, though. Is that what a normal podcast people do? Like Season 1, Episode 1?
We're normal podcast people now, Ethne.
Are we?
No.
I like your hair.
Thank you. Ethne cut all my hair off.
Yes. It's great.
It's short. Yeah. Most podcasts that I listen to have seasons. Like my main one that I like, the one that Lincoln got listening to here, is I think they run 25 episodes. That's a season. They'll take like a 3-week break.
See, that's what I was wondering.
But it's their full-time job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long are their podcasts?
They're like an hour and a half, but then they have a members only one that you can pay for.
Oh, wow.
I do not pay for it.
We are not that fancy.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare ask you guys for money to listen to this.
What? I am offended. Our whole season is a year. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. We're pretty.
Technically, by their standards, we should be on Season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Season 3, Episode like 5 then or something.
If that's how they do it. I'm just kidding. I've never thought about this before.
Me either.
I listen to podcasts, but I don't think I ever pay attention to, I don't even know, those things.
I don't know what difference it makes.
I don't either.
But
I was
either
just
way.
Curious. It was just a random question, you know?
Yeah. Random questions are awesome on this show.
Yeah. Are you ready for Hoop Fest?
I'm so ready for Hoop Fest.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe it's Hoop Fest weekend.
It's coming up.
Literally this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hoop Fest. So we live in Spokane, Washington. Its nickname is the Lilac City, but its real nickname is Hooptown, USA. And we host the largest 3-on-3 tournament in the world.
Yeah.
I don't remember how big it is, but it's insane. Like 60,000 teams or something like that.
Yeah. And I
Totally
actually.
making that up. I'm going to look it up while you're talking.
I love seeing the innovativeness of where they put courts and how they arrange. I mean, it is mind-boggling, the organization that would have to go into something this magnitude. It's pretty awesome.
Okay, I said like 60,000. It's like 6,000. I was off by a magnitude of 10.
Okay.
6,000 teams of 4.
Yeah.
So that's what, 12, 20, 24,000 players on the streets of Spokane.
It's so fun.
It is so fun.
It's wild and it's fun, and there's all ages, all categories. There's kids. I mean,
Families,
it's just really fun.
Co-ed, competitive, recreational, wheelchair.
All of it.
Old guys.
Yep.
I play in the old guys.
Yeah. Our son is playing this year for the first time ever. We'll see how that goes. It's really hard to juggle the schedule.
Yeah, so he's on 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Magically. And so he's going to be, I'm hoping his 2 courts are close to each other.
Oh, gosh. Well,
I
and
know
then you
mine
on
will
top
not
of it.
be
Yeah.
close.
You guys, we're going to be all over the place. It's going to be wild. So.
Yeah. And that same son had a soccer tournament last weekend, his first ever like club tournament.
And he has soccer camp all week this week. So his body is.
He's going to literally go, let's see.
Like 10 days in a row.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Monday,
Tuesday. Well, how many days are in a week? 7, right?
Yeah.
Plus 2, 9 days in a row of competitive sports.
Competitive, not just like lollygagging. Like we're talking 3-4 hours of sports a day.
In the heat.
Yeah. Whew.
What
Dang.
a guy. What a guy.
What a guy. So.
Yeah, so that is very exciting. It's fun. You don't find out your bracket and what time you play and where you play till Wednesday or Thursday. So
a couple more days of that.
Yeah.
But
normally I'm very anxious. It's like not even on my radar. Life's so busy
with
right
our
now.
Construction and our
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice because then it just shows up. Like, oh,
that's true. Yeah, we've got. Whenever we do projects at our home, it's like all consuming. It's not always, but it's often. But they're big projects because our house is just older and it just needs attention. And
so right now we have a 26-foot by 12-foot deck that's about 15 feet in the air, ripped off.
It's kind of awkward because it's on a hill, and so like actually one of the sides is probably more than 15 feet.
And one's
like maybe
less,
5. But it's just It's all consuming. But anyway, it's fine.
It's a big enough deck that it's held up by steel columns, not wood.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it got torn down to nothing. And
it was worse than what we thought. So anyway, it's just always extensive and kind of exhausting and all consuming, truly. So
on top of all the other things we do.
So
like podcasts.
Yeah, because we have so much time for that.
I have like if you don't know, I also write on the side, so I have a book going to my agent hopefully this week, but the rate I'm going probably won't be for like 2 weeks.
Well, and you also
all the edits will be done, and then hopefully she'll start submitting it out to publishing houses.
You also have a self-published book.
I do a self-published book, which we will do an episode on one day.
We have to. Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but it's yeah. And then you have another one with
that
your agent
she's currently trying to sell.
Yeah.
So she just told me she's a pitch meeting in person on the 10th of July about
awesome.
it. So yeah, hopefully she sells it to Penguin Random House.
Is that who her pitch meeting is?
I don't know who it is. Actually, no, because Penguin accepted the manuscript and they read it and then passed on it. But the fact they even accepted it was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it's really hot in this room tonight.
It is very hot in here, and there's no airflow.
No airflow.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys don't know it. I'm saying sorry to Mike.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me so much, but I
get hot.
He gets hot.
But at least my hair's short.
Yeah, exactly.
I
know what we're talking about today.
You do?
Yep.
Did you cheat?
No, I never cheat. You know me.
Well, you're right. I know, because you're always wrong. But if you know, then I assume because you're always wrong that you cheated.
We're talking about hockey.
Hockey? No.
Something to do with hockey. A crazy hockey story.
No.
Oh.
Even though tonight was the Stanley Cup Finals.
I know. I'm so sorry, Edmonton, for anyone listening up there. My heart aches. I just want Canada to have the Stanley Cup.
I don't know. I feel like of all the places in the world, Florida seems like the appropriate place for the Stanley Cup to reside.
Because they don't even have ice there, ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
you guys
yeah.
gotta share.
Oh, stop. No. So, but I'm super proud of Edmonton. They came back from so for those of you that don't know, it's best of 7, kind of like the NBA finals. And they had lost 3 in a row. So the 4th game was like do or die. And then Edmonton won 3 in a row and brought it to game 7. And they had a good fight. It was a good fight, but they ultimately lost 2-1. So it was...
Spoiler alert. If you're listening to this 5 days after the Stanley Cup ended, now you know what happened.
Well, I feel like I can appropriately spoiler alert at that point. If you haven't watched it at that point, then you probably never were going to watch it.
This is true.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're talking about is hockey today, right?
No hockey. I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, I bet you there's a really cool story.
There probably are some cool hockey stories.
You should look into them.
I will do that.
Okay.
But not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. No. What are we talking about tonight?
I'm not going to tell you yet, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, yes. Okay. I like these questions.
Have you ever had to escape from something?
Have I ever had to escape from something? Kind of.
No?
Yeah.
I just have to escape from you most of the time.
Oh gosh. So
physically escape.
Yeah.
Not like emotionally escape.
No. So I was assaulted at a bus transfer station in high school. And I had to physically try to escape the situation. And it was terrifying. So yeah. I have.
That's deep.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think I've ever really had to escape anything.
You asked the question.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Not of any real escape, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's about the biggest, yeah. And there's lots of interesting, but not really escape is not the right word.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, today we're going to talk about escaping.
Okay. Like Houdini kind of escaping?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, like that, but not at all magic or for fun. We're going to talk about escaping from a country.
Okay.
And not any country, a specific country.
Oh.
A country by the name of East Germany.
East Germany. Okay.
Into West Germany. We're going to talk about the Berlin Wall.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So, do you know anything about the Berlin Wall? So, I feel like this is one of those. I have like a blind spot to this time frame in history because I was alive when it happened, but I was so young that I was never taught about it in school because it was recent enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like 6 years old when the Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah. So I mean, besides it dividing East and West Germany, I mean, I don't know, like, when it was built, why it was built.
I can tell you why, but that's about the extent of it. And I have lots of memories.
And when it falls, what that actually means. Like, is it literally being, sledgehammered
Yeah, they literally
down?
like tore it down.
Yeah.
I remember
these kind of things.
Yeah. Down the wall. I actually don't remember that. I've just heard it a million times in my life,
I vaguely remember these things, but like the actual significance of them, I don't think I know to a great extent.
Right.
And
but I think it's because of our age.
Yeah, it's kind of the weird place that we were at.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't real history by the time we were learning about history. And we
I
were
wonder,
too little.
Like when I think about COVID, I wonder what that will be like for our kids. I mean, they lived through it, but they were so young, it didn't ultimately like define their...
Yeah, I assume they're going to look back just from your and my perspective on COVID. They'll think back and be like, oh, that was that dumb time where we couldn't do anything.
And we had to wear masks and,
But I don't think they'll have many specific memories.
But then I also wonder, will they be taught about it in school? Like our youngest, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll just be interesting. So I don't know much. So this will be a good topic.
Yeah. So, after World War II, Germany itself was divided into 4 occupational zones.
Okay. Occupational zones meaning what exactly?
4 zones.
Okay.
We'll throw out the word occupation.
Well, I didn't know what that meant. They were occupied.
They were occupied, essentially. So, of the Allied powers, so the United States, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and France.
Oh, wow.
Kind of all took a spot. The only problem was the United States and the United Kingdom and France quickly became enemies with the Soviet Union almost instantaneously.
Right. Which has kind of always been a thing.
You divide it up amongst your friends, but then your friends, one of them becomes your biggest enemy.
Your enemy. Mm-hmm.
Overnight. And so Berlin was located deep within the Soviet part of Germany.
Okay.
But they still divided the city
into 4 as well.
I don't know if it's 4 or just 2. But yeah, so they divided it into East and West Germany.
The city,
East and West
Berlin.
Right.
Interesting.
And then as things escalated between the Soviet Union and the United States, it kind of just turned into 2 separate German states.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have technically the Federal Republic of Germany, which is West Germany, and the German Democratic Republic, which was East Germany.
It's much easier to say East and West, don't you think? Yeah, I agree.
So West Germany became a democratic state, closely aligned with the United States and Great Britain, capitalist economy, while East Germany, closely associated with the Soviet Union.
Now, when you're saying East Germany, are you meaning East Berlin?
No, I'm actually saying
Germany now.
But the Berlin Wall.
Because Berlin is a city.
Right.
So
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure we were back to Germany and not just Berlin itself. Okay.
Which you have a socialist government. And you have instantaneously this great experiment on capitalism versus socialism in the same place.
Wow.
And you have one which thrives, one which doesn't, and one that has people trying to escape to the other. Can you guess which way?
I mean, yes, I can.
Were there a lot of people from West Germany trying to escape into the Soviet Union?
No.
No, there were not.
No. Which should be a sign to all the world. I'm just kidding. Okay.
So,
no comments.
I mean, the people of East Germany definitely, well, I'm sure not all of them, but lots of them looked across the wall at the flourishing other side and said, looks pretty good over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would suck because it's not really up to you. Like, it's not like they said, okay, here's what we're doing. You can choose which side you want to be on. It was just whatever side you already were on, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to go back to the beginning So when they first built the Berlin Wall, it was essentially just like some barbed wire.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like this giant, massive wall that went up overnight. And then we're talking in 1961 here. August 13th, 1961 is when they began constructing this wall. But like I said, it was really just like some cinder blocks, you know, some man-made little walls, barbed wire. It wasn't anything crazy. And it'd be interesting to be there at that time.
Yeah.
Like, could you have foreseen what was happening? Could you have been like, you know what? I'm going to hop over right now. Or
did they know which side was which at the time as they were putting up the barbed wire? Yeah, I would hope.
Or if you would never realize it was going to get as drastic and distinct as it was before it was too late. And all of a sudden you're stuck.
You're stuck. Yeah. I imagine there were many people in that situation.
Yeah. This has actually been something I think would be a fun book premise to write.
I bet you there are books out there.
But I would want to write it in a comedy version.
Well,
like something that's going on that's funny back and forth between the two, you know, or trying to escape or something, but not in a dense, heavy.
Right.
I'm sure there's millions of books about the Berlin Wall. There's a lot of cool stories that came out of it. People were divided and against their will, even. So it started as just a small little, not much of anything, but quickly grew, eventually being made of concrete, up to 12 feet high and 4 feet thick.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of material.
They also topped it with smooth pipes so you couldn't climb. Like it made it really, really hard to physically climb over it.
Maybe they were following China.
Yeah, maybe.
They thought that was a good idea.
I didn't realize this, though, how big it was. It was 96 miles long.
Well, I mean, if you're going to divide all of Germany, I mean, it would have to be long, right?
Yeah. And I guess I don't know if it actually did divide all of Germany or if it was just around that part of Berlin. Like, I don't really know geographically where it went. But 155 kilometers, 96 miles. It was big.
That's huge. Yeah.
So it was heavily guarded. It wasn't just a wall.
So who is guarding it? Both sides of the parties? It's so weird. It's kind of like the North-South Korea division, maybe.
Yeah. So it was funny. My dad, who was a career military guy, had good friends who were also in the military who lived in Jordan.
Okay.
And they had a son who got...
Like we're talking Jordan in the Middle East. Okay.
And they had a son who was going to get baptized. And they thought it'd be cool to baptize him in the Jordan River.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they got permission to do that. And again, sorry if my geography is wrong here. But because the Jordan River forms, I believe it's the border of Jordan and Lebanon.
Okay.
But maybe it's Syria, somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the Jordanian army sent a convoy of military personnel with them to accompany them to the river for the baptism.
Oh.
But because their military presence was there,
then
the Syrian or Lebanese, whoever it was, sent a similar convoy to stand on their side of the river.
Whoa.
So this kid was baptized with these two armies.
That's crazy.
Overlooking them.
Oh.
And I wonder if that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, well, in East Germany, we're going to guard this heavily to prevent our people from leaving. And maybe the West Germans are like, well, we're going to guard this heavily because you have guards heavily here. Or maybe there wasn't as many on the other side.
That they were open to having as many people that wanted to be in West Germany come? Like,
I believe the West Germans, yes, were more than happy to take defectors.
They were... It was East Germany not allowing. Isn't that a bad sign right there?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't understand this. This is not a hard concept. If your people don't want to stay in the country, there's probably a good reason, and you should probably not be doing what you're doing.
It's one thing to do what you're doing because when you're at the top of these power regimes, it works well. The thing I don't get is when other countries are like, hey, let's base our government after that government that people are trying to escape out of. That looks like a good idea. Unless,
again, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Anyways.
Interesting.
I had a thought. I don't remember it now.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Maybe it'll come back to you.
Maybe. So, besides just being a wall, it was heavily guarded. Watchtowers, armed guns. It had a no man's zone called the Death Strip.
The Death Strip?
Yep.
I swear your dad has talked about something like that.
He started talking about North and South Korea.
Yeah, he was. Zone. The demilitarized zone. That's what it is. It's something similar too, though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the Death Strip had anti-vehicle trenches, so you couldn't drive over it.
Oh, wow.
It had barbed wire and had tripwire machine guns.
Who spent all this time doing this?
The East Germans. They didn't want their people leaving. But that's what I was going to talk about.
That's a lot.
It was a huge propaganda thing, too. Like, if you had people fleeing from East Germany to West Germany, because this is the height of the Cold War.
Right.
You know, it was the West would use it as propaganda. Like, look how bad people want out. And, you know, like it's.
Well, sure. But I mean, just having to do any of these things.
I mean, this is similar with North Korea today.
Sure.
Like, they don't let any information out, right?
Right. But I mean, digging trenches, trying to keep your people in is already in and of itself. It doesn't have to be propaganda. I mean, like, this is legitimately just, they don't want to be there.
They don't want to be there.
Right.
So there are over 100 people who have documented who have died, who did die trying to cross.
The demilitarized zone.
Mm-hmm.
So the West is just standing there, not letting the East do anything.
I mean, they were at a standoff for
But they're not going to really shoot anyone that's trying to come into the West.
No.
Right. So they're just there.
They're just there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so the wall, that's not how you say it. The wall eventually did come down in 1989.
Yeah, like we were alive when
I
remember.
The two sides were reunified in 1990. But during that whole time, there were a lot of people who escaped. And they escaped in some pretty dang cool ways. Because you had to be tricky about it.
Tunnels?
All sorts of ways. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the cool ways people escaped from East Germany to West Germany. Over, through, around, all the things, the wall.
Oh. Interesting. Maybe it's like the Count of Monte Cristo style.
What was his dog? Thrown out in a coffin or something?
Well, but they literally dug with like a spoon in, and then they had this tunnel, and then they would cover it with a rock when like the guards would give them food and stuff, and then they'd keep digging like this tunnel, the spoon, and then they ended up in the wrong way. And then once...
Because that guy died, right?
Well, so the tunnel collapsed, right?
I don't remember.
And when the old guy died, that's when the Count got a good idea to go in his coffin. That wasn't the original plan. The original plan was to literally dig a tunnel out to the outer wall with a spoon. One spoon.
I hope it was a large, not a small.
No, it was just a tiny eating spoon.
Right, but like I use a much bigger spoon than you do.
But once it collapsed, he was kind of like, oh my gosh, all these years of work. And then he just got this idea and just did it. So that wasn't like the original plan.
Well, I mean, the Count was awesome, you know.
Well, sure. But I mean,
he's also,
maybe they like at nighttime at a certain shift, they thought where there was like a blind spot, they like dug with a spoon and then like covered it back up and then did it again.
Yeah. That's one way to do it. We're going to talk about people who dug.
Okay.
All sorts of things.
With a spoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to start simple.
Okay.
And work our way up.
All right.
So we actually don't know the name of this guy. This first one we're going to talk about.
Okay.
20 years old. And he just happened to be walking down the road. So let's go back a step. There was...
cross points.
There were cross points, checkpoints, and there was some commerce done back and forth.
Okay.
You know, food and things that would go back and forth. So with the right documentation, you could, go back and forth for certain reasons. So it wasn't completely cut off.
Right. Gotcha.
And there was a West German car or truck pulled up to the checkpoint. And he just realized, like, from where I'm standing, I can't see the guards. I wonder if they can't see me. I'm just going to walk behind this truck as it drives off. Like on the side of it.
Really?
Yeah.
And he made it?
And he made it.
No way.
Yeah, he went completely unnoticed.
But I mean, his chance of getting noticed meant death, right?
Totally.
So he just was
shot, yeah.
Oof. That's like one of those spur of the moment decisions that it must be that bad that you're willing to, like, without any premeditated, you're just like, oh, This is an opportunity. I'm going to take it, and I might die.
And I have to do it right now.
Right
there's
now.
No time
there's
to
no...
think about this.
Holy shnikes. You can't tell your family or anybody.
Nope. You just go.
That's crazy. But he made it.
He made it.
Wow.
Before we get to some of those stories, I'm going to tell you a couple other ones here.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me.
Switching from my script to my phone here.
Oh. Sneaky.
Yeah. So.
Speaking of phones. Oh, sorry. I know.
Oh, shoot.
That's fine. Speaking of phones, we got new phones for our older kids, kind of.
Not kind of. We totally did.
Well, one's a house phone. It's not our kid's phone. But my, oh my, I don't even know. It's just a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. So we're just speaking of phones while you were bringing up your phone.
I got my phone now.
Okay. You got your story?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Okay.
There's another guy. Hans Peter.
Ooh, Hans Liebken.
Strzelczyk.
Oh, I wanted it to be Hans Liebken.
Nope. Something like that. And his girlfriend, Gunter Wetzel.
Gunter Wetzel?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
They escaped. They built a hot air balloon.
How does someone not see that and shoot it down?
Well, maybe you go over at night or I don't know where. But they got the idea from watching a East German TV show on the history of balloons.
Huh.
And they're like, hey, we should build one of those.
Did they
fly
survive?
over the wall? Yeah. Everyone we talk about today is going to survive and make it to the other side.
Oh, good. This makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't have to
I told you 100 people plus died, but we're not talking about them.
Okay. The anxiety in my heart can go away now.
No.
Okay.
These upcoming weeks, you might have some more anxiety.
Perfect.
Normally I don't even know what we're going to talk about next week. I've got the next 2 written.
It's because we have a lot of holidays
stuff,
and trips and stuff, so we got to record accordingly.
Here's an interesting one. You know the magazine Playboy?
I mean, I do.
Did you renew your annual subscription?
I've never had a subscription.
Oh. Well, they apparently had a club in Munich, Germany.
And Munich is on the west side?
Yes.
No, okay.
Or maybe it actually was on the east side. I don't know which side it was on.
Okay.
Regardless, what are the odds here? The Munich Playboy Club's membership cards looked almost identical to diplomatic passports.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there were a number of East Germans who crossed by flashing Playboy club cards and no one checking them closely and just taking them as diplomatic passports and allowing them through.
Yeah, so once they got word of this, though, I'm sure they cracked down.
I'm sure almost all of these only worked once.
Yeah, maybe. Or a couple times, right?
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty interesting. It's kind of weird. Why would they look so similar? And how would you ever... I mean, I guess you just figure it out.
Yeah. You got like an uncle who
is
a diplomat and goes to the Playboy Club. You're like, whoa, these two things look the exact same.
Like, this is a win.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Here's an East German soldier in 1963.
Okay.
Wolfgang Engels.
Ooh, I like it.
He stole a tank and decided he was just going to smash his way through the wall.
I feel like that's a little bit noticeable.
Well, it is noticeable, but assuming you can smash your way through the wall, I mean, you're in a tank. You just got to get to the other side.
I mean, that is one way to do it.
Yeah. So,
but like, can't you be charged for like you're committing? I don't know. I think it's like, couldn't they hold you? I don't know, accountable for like breaking the whole wall or stealing like the tank, and then you are in trouble anyway?
I mean, who's going to hold you accountable? If you get caught by the people who own the tank, you're dying. If you make it through, it's not their tank. They don't care. They're not the one holding people into their country.
Good point. I don't know. I don't know.
So Engels smashed into the wall, but the tank got stuck in the rubble that he created. So then he climbed out of the tank, but not only did the tank get stuck in rubble, he got stuck in barbed wire. So then he was really in a predicament. and some border guards shot him.
But he still lived? You said everyone lives.
Yeah. But some West Germans actually came to his aid and unhooked him and pulled him into the West German side. Shot, mangled, but he survived.
Dang. Huh.
So
that's not a great one.
Yeah. The tank method wasn't as good.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really sure what a tank is made to go through. Like what strength it's meant to have. But I would hope that if he was like trained enough to drive a tank, that he would be like, hey, I'm not really sure that this tank, like know enough that the tank is not built to go through. How thick did you say the wall was? Like 12 feet?
At points, 4 thick, 12 high.
Oh, 4 feet thick. So if it couldn't even go through 4 feet.
What kind of tanks are these?
Unless he was going like baby speed and he didn't go fast, like he didn't get a running start or something.
Yeah, you gotta get a running start.
But I mean, not just anybody knows how to drive a tank.
Well, I think he was a tank guy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is he should have known, like, hey, this tank is not built for this. I'm probably not going to make it. He just didn't care.
No, he made it.
Well, good for him. I mean, barely. And only because the Westerners help him. I mean, the West Germans or whatever.
You are correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so here's another strategy we're going to go with here, okay? Major Bruno Kajewski. He was actually a senior officer of the East German Border Police.
And he was like, I'm out of here.
Spotless record, was considered like the ultra loyal of the Border Patrol guys.
Okay.
It was actually his job to find weaknesses in the wall. Which is a good job to have if you want to escape.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good job.
So he did well, his was interesting. So he waited for a really foggy night in December, and he loaded his wife and their 3 children into a boat on one of the lakes between the two, and he rowed them over the lake and into West Germany.
Obviously, you can't build a wall through a lake.
You cannot build a lake.
But don't you think they would have patrolled the lake?
So that was the thing. The West Germans almost didn't believe him because they're like, there's 0 chance you can get by the patrol boats. But Bruno's like, I know all the things.
And so
about where they are, when they are.
Oh, so he just knew when to go.
Yeah, where they would be, when they would be, where he could be. And he just rode his family across. That was a good one, but it took a lot of intel.
Yeah, it did. He needed to have all the inside scoop. But again, doesn't it go to show if even a leader, someone with that much power and authority, still wants to leave? It's not a good sign, people. Anyone listening out there, it's just not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Yeah.
You're going to like the next one.
Oh, I am.
It's 2 of your favorite things.
Okay.
Chicken coops, old people.
I mean...
You like really smelly things.
Old people don't smell. Not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all the time.
Honey, be nice.
Sorry.
Okay, here, I have to preface the old people thing. I do like old people, but not all old people. But definitely I love my grandparents and I'm kind of an old soul.
You're an old soul.
But I mean, yeah, I appreciate their knowledge.
So I have a patient. This is going to make me sound like a cold, heartless person. And maybe I am. He was one of our least favorite patients. Very rude to the hygienists. Very rude to me. But just, you have so many, a couple thousand people that you deal with regularly. There's bound to be 4 or 5.
Super rude people. Yeah. Okay.
And one of my front desk gals called me up today, and she turned her computer screen towards me, and it was obituary. And part of me was like, I'm not that sad.
You're like, I'm so glad I don't have to actually see him as a patient anymore. Yeah. That's sad. I mean,
it is sad.
That's sad.
You're sad for the family and all that, but it was the first time. I mean, we have patients die a lot.
Well, and it's sad for him too that his life is like, people are kind of like, whew.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
kind of
sad.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah. Well, but he changed.
Well, Ebenezer's changed.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think this guy changed. If he did change,
Never
It might have been the day before he died, like Ebenezer almost did, but I did not benefit from that.
Oh gosh.
So, but this one's kind of cool. It's a group of 12 senior citizens that decided that they were going to dig a tunnel to West Germany. And they dug it under a chicken coop. Like that's how they disguised it.
The wall was built that close to a chicken coop?
I guess so.
Huh.
So it took them 2 weeks, which actually sounds like super fast.
Yeah. They were on this cute little shift. Like everyone takes 5 minutes before they burn themselves out.
But they dug a 32-meter long tunnel.
Whoa.
Which is what? 100 feet?
I want to say more.
It's about 3 feet in a meter.
Yeah.
So 32 times 3. Yeah, 100 feet.
Holy. So the chicken coop obviously wasn't that close. Because in theory, if the wall's only 4 feet thick and you're right on the other side, I mean, it doesn't really have to be that.
Yeah.
But 32 meters?
Mm-hmm.
Woof. That's a long. How did it not collapse?
It's good engineering. I don't know. But here's the coolest thing of it.
Oh, okay.
They built it 1.75 meters tall. So I'm about 2 meters tall. So I'm 6'4", right around 2 meters.
Oh, you're not like crawling through. You were like basically
so they
walking.
Purposely wanted them and their wives to be able to walk to freedom.
Oh,
they did not want to have to be on their hands and knees crawling to freedom.
I mean, I guess if you're free, I don't know that I would care, but I mean, that's cute.
They wanted like their dignity.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But also, I don't understand how they did this so fast. That's insane.
That's
how
like
did
twice the tunnel you have to.
Yeah. How did they do it so fast?
Buff old guys.
And under a chicken coop.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even do that?
Well, it's probably just a small hole down into it.
Right. I like my chickens.
Yeah. So, there's another way you could do it.
Okay.
All right. So the tank didn't work.
Nope.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Back 5 minutes ago?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So check this out. It was important to keep the, not the demilitarized zone, but
essentially
the death zone.
Yeah, the death zone.
Free of plants. Like they didn't want it being overgrown.
Oh, because you could hide in them or something. Okay.
So to clean out those areas, they used bulldozers.
Okay.
But they weren't any kind of bulldozers. They then plated those bulldozers with steel over the cabins and the fuel injection pumps so that people couldn't shoot at them. So essentially they made these bulletproof bulldozers. Well, there was 2 married couples and their 3-year-old child stole one of them.
I mean, that's desperation.
You got 5 people
jammed into
a bulldozer,
like little cockpit.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, but a bulletproof one.
Yeah,
and so they took off. They ran over some fences. They ran over some stuff. They had over 60 shots fired at them.
Wow.
And they did break through and make it into West Germany. 2 of the adults were grazed by bullets, but
crazy.
They all 5 made it.
This is crazy.
So don't steal a tank, but you can steal
a bulletproof
bulldozer.
So this is so interesting. And again, it must have been one of those moments where they see this opportunity and they're just there because it's like super random. These 2 married couples and a kid. It's like they see them, they're walking on the street and they're like, oh my gosh, we could run right into that right now. The key's in there. Let's do it. And they just do it. Like they don't really think it through. You know what I mean? Because if there only are so many opportunities. And when you see one, if you don't take it right then, they obviously know that that's probably their only chance, right? Yeah. They didn't think it through that much. They're like, we're willing to die for this. It's crazy.
Crazy. So, next plan.
All right. I like it.
There's only a couple left.
Okay.
But they're going to get a little more...
spicy.
Trickier to pull off. Harry Dieterling. He was a train driver.
Okay.
Now, he had an interesting thing because, one, he knew about trains.
Yeah.
But he knew that the train lines, at least one specific train line between East and West Germany, was still operational in the sense that they had barricaded it, but they hadn't pulled the tracks up.
So you could still drive on it. You just had to plow through the barricade.
Right. You'd have to switch the line and blah, 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 blah. So he comes up with a plan. And it's a pretty wild plan. So he gathers himself, his family, and I think it was about 18 people in total, some friends and stuff. And they all buy tickets for a train from point A to point B, whatever. But on this train, it's going to go past this abandoned line that goes to West Germany. So once on the train, and I don't know how he does this, but he essentially commandeers the train.
Okay.
He cuts the brake lines.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what that means on a train.
I don't either.
He switches the track.
How do you switch the track?
I don't know.
Okay.
And he goes full speed
through this barricade.
Don't
be in the first
full train.
Yeah, don't be in the first few cars.
Yeah. So the guards at the border, I mean, I can just see like a movie. They're all jumping out of the way.
Yeah.
You know,
well, they're probably half asleep.
Yeah, not ready for a train to come barreling through.
Mm-mm.
So he actually barrels through the barricades, leaves East Germany, ends up in West Germany with this train. And they all survive and they all make it. Now, the funny thing is, I believe that the train was actually full of passengers. Like he commandeered just like a normal train.
With a whole bunch of other people. It wasn't like an empty
train, yeah.
What? And some of them most of them maybe were happy about that, but who knows?
Yeah, but this one in particular became a huge propaganda piece for the West.
Oh,
like
for
a whole
sure.
trainload of people burst through the wall.
That's kind of hilarious. Interesting. Well,
so trains work good.
Yeah. I wonder how many people in total.
Yeah, I don't know. But the next day they ripped the track up.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like that was one of the one time.
Yeah, it's a one time. And then you're done. One and done.
So our next guy, Horst Klein.
Horst Klein.
He was a famous circus acrobat.
Ooh, he tight-roped over.
Kind of.
Oh, wow. This is great.
Yeah. So, like I said, he was an acrobat, and he picked a very unconventional manner.
An acrobat. Escaping. So those are the ones that swing, not tightrope.
I believe so.
Okay. So he swung over.
Mm-hmm. So, January.
Oof. Cold.
He didn't find it that night. He had found this abandoned tramway cable that used to run across Berlin, but part of it was
like a tram, like above ground kind of subway.
No, like those
like the C train.
No, like the things they have at like Lagoon.
Oh, like in San Francisco. All the trams in San Francisco.
Nope.
No,
like an air thing on a bucket.
Almost like a gondola?
Like a gondola. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. So like it's abandoned, we'll call it a gondola line. That is now part in East Germany, part in West Germany. Back in the day, it was all just in Berlin, right?
He just discovered this. This is one like everyone would have known.
Everyone would have known about it, but who's gonna what do you do with it, right?
Well, obviously, if you're him.
If you're an acrobat, you might be able to use it.
Yeah.
Most people probably can't use that.
Okay.
So, January night, cold, freezing cold. He climbs up the structure.
Oh my gosh.
And he does, at least, make himself like a makeshift harness. Like, straps his belt around the cable or something like that.
Gosh.
And then just inch by inch, hand over hand, pulls himself across this cable.
How does he get himself back down? He has to go to another pole?
Well, it's attached to something on the other side.
Well, yeah,
right?
There's got to be pole, like support.
There's a building or a pole or I don't know what it was that it was attached to.
Well, good for him. No one shot at him.
No one shot at him.
Because they probably didn't even think about that.
They didn't.
But then right after that, they probably cut
it down.
cut the tram line down or whatever.
I mean, I have no
note of that.
But if they learned about it, I'm sure they cut it down.
Yeah.
So you could use your acrobatic skills.
Totally.
If you wanted to escape.
Yeah.
Okay. Next guy. Heinz Holzefeld.
Ooh. You say it with a good accent, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all correct, I'm sure. So his was interesting. His wife was in West Germany or West Berlin. Now, I don't know how exactly that happened.
Yeah,
but they got separated.
Oh, that's sad.
And he really wanted to get back to her. So he devised a plan where he made a zip line. So he got some wire, got himself a pulley, and on a building on the east side, he set it up. He climbed up onto some tall building. Mm-hmm. Now, what I don't know is how he got it to the west side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as you were saying this. Like,
I don't know if we could grapple hook it over.
Yeah, how did
if you could contact his wife somehow and they were
had
there
her,
and threw
hang
over
the other
and they
end?
could, yeah.
Huh.
But he literally zip-lined
Essentially.
across. But he made it.
Yeah.
There's another very similar story of a guy who worked for an East Germany government-y kind of thing. And his family also did a very similar thing with the zip line. But it was his wife and his children, all of them.
Oh.
And they waited late at night. He actually brought them to work and hid them in a bathroom stall all day long in the building. Because it wasn't an abandoned building. It was. And then at night, they climbed on the roof and they used this line and zip lined over. The crazy thing about their story is the guards actually saw them, but they didn't shoot at them. And it was later discovered the guards, because it was so blatant, they thought they were, and it was coming from this government building, that they were East German spies sneaking into West Germany. So they didn't shoot at them.
Wow.
But in reality, it was just this family escaping.
Wow.
So you need a little bit of luck sometimes.
You definitely did in certain situations for sure. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool reading some of these stories.
I bet.
People escaping.
Did you read a lot of ones where it didn't work?
Nope.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, that's...
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's a whole different world that we don't know about. Just living through something, that strange and bizarre,
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, obviously, we've lived through other things, but yeah.
If we got divided into East and West Spokane, I would zip line towards you for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of East and West United States or something, on a bigger scale than just Spokane.
That'd be a big zip line all the way across the states.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what. Well, no, you could still just
cross. That'd be very fast.
No. Okay. Anyway, I always say the border should really sometimes run north-south so that it divides east-west.
Well, that works in Canada.
No, I mean, even in the States.
Well, ideologically, it's more the coastlines in the center. You really need two borders.
You kind of need two borders. I get it.
If you want to split it ideologically.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, those are some pretty interesting stories. And obviously, extremely motivated people to just give anything a try for their freedom. So grateful for this country.
Yeah, me too. Grateful that I don't have to escape to get where I want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you escaped Canada.
Oh.
It's a good job.
Yeah, it's called Buy a Wife. Buyawife.com.
Is that what we did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mail order.
You bought me. I didn't escape Canada. I wanted to go back to Canada.
But you never did.
You captured me.
I captured you, but I offered to go back. You said no thanks.
That was years later.
But still.
Yeah.
You're I don't want to do that weather anymore.
Well, the weather that I do want to do, I don't want to deal with the government of that particular location.
Gotcha.
So, the place where I'd want to live, I don't want to deal with that weather.
There you go.
Catch. It's many catches.
Lots of catches.
Yeah. So, anyway.
All right, everyone. Well, you have a wonderful week. We will be back next week talking about, I actually do know what, but I cannot tell you.
And I don't know.
Defeat the purpose.
But maybe it'll be hockey.
Probably not.
Oh, probably not.
Probably still not.
Oh, well, maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
On that note, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, everyone have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good day. Have a good week.
That's true. Whatever you're having.
Yeah, whatever you're having. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.